The narcissist in your life has a secret playbook they don't want you to see. Step 1. Say something provocative. Step 2. Watch you get upset. Step 3. Act surprised at your reaction. And step 4. Make you apologize for being upset. Seems familiar? Well, it should. They have been running this exact script for years. And it works because they've trained you to respond exactly how they want. But what happens when you stop following the script? Absolute chaos. For them, not you. Today, I'm showing you how to flip their playbook and finally break free. Hi there, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Nidhi Kapoor. I've got a little gift for you. You can click the link below to download my free guide on how to live your best life. Now, let's get on with today's video. Have you noticed how interactions with that certain person leave you feeling completely drained? You walk away confused, questioning what just happened, maybe even doubting your own sanity. That's not an accident. That's their system working perfectly. Here's something crucial you need to understand. Narcissists aren't normal people with normal motivations. They're actually more like emotion-generating machines. Their primary goal isn't connection or mutual understanding. Rather, it's to provoke a specific emotional reaction from you. Everything they do serves this purpose. The biggest mistake most of us make is treating narcissists like regular people who can be reasoned with. We think, if I just explain my feelings better, or maybe this time they'll understand my perspective. You see, this fundamental error keeps us trapped in an endless cycle of hope and disappointment because we're playing a game with completely different rules than they are. Think about it. When they criticize you harshly, you feel hurt and defensive. When they give you the silent treatment, you feel anxious and you try to win their attention back, right? When they humiliate you in front of others, you feel shame and try to express yourself. When they twist reality and tell you something never happened, you start questioning your own memory, right? This emotional roller coaster isn't a side effect. That's the entire point. Narcissists are incredibly observant when it comes to your emotional triggers. They pay close attention to what upsets you, what makes you defensive, what causes you to apologize, and what makes you try harder to please them. They're taking notes on your vulnerabilities not to understand you better, but to use that information against you later. This creates what experts call an action-reaction cycle. Let me explain. They initiate an action specifically designed to provoke you. And when you react, they use that reaction as ammunition. Now, you're fighting the battle on their terms, making you predictable and trapped in their game. What makes this so dangerous is that while you're operating with normal human emotions, you're seeking connection, understanding, and resolution, they are operating within a vertical power structure where they must be dominant and you must be subordinate. You see, your authentic communication becomes just another tool for them to maintain control. The fundamental mistake isn't that you're communicating poorly. It's that you believe they care about your feelings or perspective at all. Guess what? They don't. Their only interest is in the reactions they can extract from you, which feed their need for power and control. But what if I told you there's a way to completely change the game by focusing on something entirely different, something that puts you back in control? Think about the last time that narcissist pushed your buttons. Maybe they made that cutting remark about your appearance or brought up that mistake from 5 years ago. What if, instead of feeling that familiar rush of anger or hurt, you could simply Watch their attempts bounce off you like they were nothing. This is where creating emotional distance comes in. It's your first real step towards breaking free. You see, when you create space between yourself and your emotional reactions, you take back control that the narcissist has held over you for so long. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, easier said than done, right? Staying calm when someone is deliberately trying to upset you feels almost impossible. I get it. They know exactly which buttons to push, and they've been practicing on you for years. Your body is literally programmed to react. Your heart races, your chest tightens, maybe your face gets hot. You see, these physical sensations are your warning signs that you are being triggered. But here's something powerful to remember. You see, between what happens to you and how you respond, there's a tiny space. That space is your greatest power. As Viktor Frankl wrote, between stimulus and response, there is space. And in that space is your power to choose your response. So, how do you create this buffer zone? Start with simple mindfulness practices. Even 5 minutes of meditation each morning helps you recognize thoughts and feelings without immediately acting on them. Journaling about interactions afterwards help you spot patterns in what triggers you. Some people find deep breathing, counting till 4 on the inhale, holding for 4, then exhaling for 6, can create instant distance when you feel yourself getting pulled in. Pay attention to your body's warning signals. Do your shoulders tense up? Does your voice get higher? When you notice these signs, that's your cue to pause. You might say something like, I need a moment to think about this, or I'll get back to you on that later. Sometimes even a brief bathroom break can give you the space you need. You see, what you're developing through this practice is what experts call witness consciousness. The ability to observe your own reactions rather than being consumed by them. Think of it like watching yourself in a movie instead of being lost in the drama. Now, remember, this doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistent practice. But each time you pause before reacting, you're building a new muscle that gets stronger every day. Now that you've created some emotional space, let's talk about how to strategically approach every interaction with the narcissist in your life. What if every interaction with the narcissist becomes a strategic game where you already know all their moves before they make them? Wouldn't that be nice? Because that's exactly what it can be once you stop trying to have real conversations and start playing chess instead. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Normal conversation rules don't apply with narcissists. Think about how you usually talk with friends or family. You share thoughts, feelings, perhaps experiences. You're open and authentic. Well, that approach will get you burnt every time with a narcissist because they're collecting information to use against you later. So instead, you need to approach every interaction with a specific goal in mind. Ask yourself, what do I actually need from this conversation? Maybe you just need to protect yourself from attacks. Maybe you need specific information. Or maybe you need to coordinate something practical like childcare or a work project. Whatever it is, know your objective before you say a single word. This is where the grey rock technique comes in handy. What is it? Well, the idea is simple. Become as boring and unresponsive as possible. Give short answers. Show minimal emotions. If they send you a long dramatic message, reply with something brief like, got it, or thanks for letting me know. You see, when you stop providing emotional reactions, you become less interesting to them, like a grey rock that just blends into the background. Let me give you some examples. Let's say if they criticize you with, "You always mess everything up." Instead of defending yourself, try, "I understand you feel that way." And then change the subject or end the conversation. If they try to provoke you with, "You're too sensitive," respond with, "Maybe so," and move on. See how these responses give them nothing to work with. The key difference in these interactions is that they are strategic games, not authentic conversations. Every word you say should serve your specific goal. You're not sharing to connect. You're communicating to achieve an outcome. This might feel weird at first because we're taught to be honest and open in relationships, right? But with narcissists, those rules don't work. When you start approaching conversation this way with a narcissist, something amazing happens. You take back control. Their attempts to manipulate you become obvious and predictable. And you can almost see the moves coming before they make them. And you're no longer dragged into their game. But what about situations where you can't avoid regular contact? Let's talk about your protection plan for when no contact just isn't an option. What would change if you approached unavoidable interactions with a narcissist like a chess grandmaster, always thinking 5 moves ahead? This mindset shift can transform how you handle situations where cutting ties just isn't possible. Let's face it, sometimes we just can't completely remove narcissists from our lives. Maybe you're co-parenting with an ex, maybe you're dealing with a difficult boss, or managing a complicated family relationship, right? These situations require a more sophisticated strategy than simply just walking away. When you're stuck in ongoing contact, you need to start thinking about information control. I like to call this putting the narcissist on an information diet. The less they know about your personal life, feelings, and plans, the less ammunition they have to use against you. Remember this rule: do not tell them what you're thinking. Do not tell them what you're feeling. Do not tell them the truth about where you were today. Anything you share becomes potential material for future manipulation. You see, setting clear boundaries is essential, but they only work if you can actually enforce the consequences. If you say, "I'll end this conversation if you raise your voice," you must be prepared to follow through every single time. Consistency is key. Narcissists are expert at finding and exploiting exceptions to your rules. Documentation becomes your best friend in these situations. Keep detailed records of all interactions, especially if you're dealing with a workplace narcissist or co-parenting situation. Save texts, messages, emails, and write down face-to-face conversations right after they happen. This creates a paper trail that can protect you if things do escalate. Try to shift as much communication as possible to writing. This gives you time to think before responding and creates a record of what was actually said. For important conversations that must happen in person, bring a neutral third party whenever possible. You see, this reduces the chance of the narcissist twisting what happened later. Building a support network is critical too. Find people who understand what you're going through, whether friends, family, or a support group. They'll help you maintain your sanity when you start questioning your how to deal with narcissist in your life, own perceptions. Define 1 or 2 specific goals for each interaction. Maybe you need to discuss a work project or coordinate childcare schedules. Stay focused on just those objectives and resist being pulled into emotional discussions. Now that you have all these tools to protect yourself, let's talk about what true freedom from this cycle really looks like, because it might be different than you imagine. You know what I've just learned after years of working with people in narcissist relationships? The real power move isn't trying to change them. It's rebuilding your own emotional strength. Trying to make a narcissist see your point of view is like trying to teach a cat to bark. It just doesn't work that way. Your peace isn't found in controlling their behavior, but in taking back control of your responses. This won't happen overnight, and it takes practice to create that space between your actions and your reactions. Your freedom begins the moment you stop playing by their rules and start creating your own. That's when everything changes. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you found it informative. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care.